Hello everyone, today I thought I would do a video talking you through the portfolio that I made for applying to university, because if you didn't know, I am applying to do architecture and some landscape architecture courses at university next year, and for all of these courses I was required to submit a portfolio as well as my personal statement. So I thought I'd talk you through the kind of things that I included in mine, because I've already got 3 offers back from universities, 2 which are conditional and 1 unconditional offer. So I thought I'd just tell you that the kinds of things that I included, because I don't have like a formal A-level art qualification or anything, so this was kind of just stuff that I made up off my own back. So hopefully this video helps you guys, because I know I really struggled to kind of think of things to include in it. So I'm just going to stop rambling and show you mine. So if you look at universities, they all will have slightly different requirements for their portfolio, but in general they usually ask for between 7 to 15 pieces, and some universities will also want to see like you developing that idea, so not just the finished product but how you got to that, so your initial plans, etc. Obviously it is different with every university. These are just the ones that I've applied to, and I will list them all below for you so that you do know which ones they are, because I'm not going through it all in this video. So overall I think I had about 7 pieces in my portfolio. I did vary them slightly for different universities. So for example, Sheffield, they asked you to do a specific piece about your street with a 200-word kind of additional bit to it. So obviously that affected that portfolio, and I did change them slightly dependent on whether I was applying for the architectural or landscape ones, because obviously they are slightly different, so I did put slightly different things in. But I'm just going to show you the one which is the one I used for Lincoln, because Lincoln I applied for architecture, but I did still include some of the things that were in my landscape one, so I will just show you that one. So I chose to do my portfolio digitally, so it's all on my laptop, or you can do a physical one. It is really down to personal preference, but I know recently a lot of universities do find it easier if you do your portfolio online, just because then you can just email it to them and they don't have to go through the faff of, you know, having it posted to them. Obviously if you require an interview, so for Gloucester I do have to go to an interview to show my portfolio, it's fine to have a physical portfolio then, but I just chose to do it all on my computer because I thought that was just easier, and I knew I'd get like a nicer finish to it if I just did it online. So anyway, now I'm going to get into it. My plan is I'm going to try and just put pictures up on the screen. Don't know if it's going to work that well, but I thought it would just be a bit easier than me trying to like turn my laptop to you guys. So yes. You also want to think about the order of your pieces as well, because some universities recommend that you put them in chronological order and finish with your most recent piece. Others just say start and end with a really good piece. I kind of went for the start and end with a good piece. Obviously you want to include all of your best work, but you will have pieces which you do feel more proud of, or you feel that show your techniques better, so yeah. So this first page was just a title page. It literally just has my name, architecture portfolio, and then my personal UCAS ID, which I've blurred out. Don't think you can really do anything with my ID, but I don't want to find out, to be honest. So yeah, I've got my personal ID, and then the first piece which I chose to include was a painting, and this is just a painting I actually did back in GCSE art, but I thought was pretty good. So this was of a set of boats, as you can see, painted in acrylic. So on the sides I did just put like a title and a little bit about it. You don't really have to do that, but some universities do like to have a few sentences just so you can kind of tell them the piece and what it was inspired by and things like that. So this was my first piece, and I thought I'd put it first because I think it is quite a strong piece and it does show my kind of style as an artist. You know, I go quite bold, and well, you can see what I mean really, can't you? So my second piece was a graphic design piece, and this was called triangulation because that is the technique that I used on it. So here I combined 2 images, one with a really like kind of weird colour palette and the other one of like a natural skin tone. And then as you can see on the side I did just write about kind of how I did it, why I did it, just things like that, because I think the universities really do like to see your thought process behind why you created certain pieces. And as I say, if you're applying to architecture like I am, you don't have to try and make all of your portfolio related to that. Obviously, as you'll see, I did do one piece which is specifically related, but they really just want to see your creativity and how your brain works, basically. The next piece is some more graphic design because I thought that it flowed a bit better, kind of following on with it. So these were just some logo designs that I've done. Again, I did write a few sentences about my style, like having bold, contrasting colours, things like that. You can read all this stuff on there. So I just did 9 little kind of logo designs just to show that I do have some kind of skills with graphic design. Like, I wouldn't say they're particular skills, but you know, I know how to use a computer kind of thing. Then the next piece I did was a photography piece. So when I applied to Sheffield, they said you could have 1 page for photography because I didn't have an art A level. So it was slightly different for that one, but I just adapted it and kept it in my portfolio because it just shows like some of the places I've been, what have inspired me, and my photography skills. So I've got like Malta, when I went to Australia, and Rottnest Island, things like that. And I also did try to include pieces which did show like some photographical elements to it, if you know what I mean. So I've got like leading lines and having like a shallow depth of field, so things like that, just to show that, you know, I do know how a camera works, again just to show that I do have some ability in that area. The next one was the one which I was on about, which I did for Sheffield, called My Street. So I actually kind of rushed this piece, to be honest, because I only had 2 weeks to submit back to Sheffield and I wasn't really sure what to do. But everyone who's seen my portfolio said they really liked this piece, so maybe simple is the way to go for some things. So all I did was draw the view out of my window, basically, of my street, and I just chose to use a kind of grey, black and white colour palette, because that then works with the text that I put underneath, which again you can read in your own time. And I thought it was an alright piece just because it does show that, you know, I can work with like physical things in front of me and I'm aware of like space and all that jazz, really. So yeah, I don't really like this piece, but everyone else has said it's a pretty good piece, so I guess it's down to personal preference, but that just shows that I can just draw what I see, basically. The next piece I did was in gouache. Don't really know how you say it, but it's like a mixture between acrylic and watercolour, and this was just a landscape piece, which I then chose to kind of flip at the very left side, if you can see that. And then I kind of explained why I did that, and it just shows that I'm willing to experiment with my work, which I think they like to see. And then the next one I did was what relates specifically to architecture. So this was the kind of longest piece in my portfolio because it went over more than 1 page. It went to about 3 pages, but it just showed like my thought process. So I came up with an idea of like creating a cafe / gallery space, and then I just showed like my thought process through how I would design it and things like that, just to show that I do have some competency with space, to kind of show that I would be suited to that course. So I showed my additional idea, which was just in my sketchbook, as you can see, with some just colour schemes, things like that. And I then developed it into kind of floor plans to see how it would work, and I named it an atrium because an atrium is just kind of a big space in the centre of a building which acts as like the central hub, which is what I made the cafe area. And then upstairs there's like a double height space and it's like the art area. You can see all that, but I just thought I'd kind of talk it through. And then I think this is the piece which really kind of did it for Lincoln, because they did give me feedback on my portfolio before they gave me my offer. And I chose to make a small model just to show, again, creativity, that I know kind of how to use stuff around me. All I did was use cardboard and card, but it just shows because I had this idea of having a curved wall. So again, this just shows like my thought process and how I try to show my like way of thinking to the world, if that makes sense. So yeah. Then I also did a little bit at the bottom where I just talked about some materials I'd use, because that's a good way to also get your point across about how you would want the finish to be. So are you choosing like natural materials, man-made ones, things like that. And then the final page was the final outcome, and fun fact for you, I made this in Sims, so you really don't need fancy equipment to do these things. I used Sims to create my final outcome, and I really don't think they noticed because they just like the fact that I did it digitally. So as you can see, I did try and include my double height space in the centre. It's pretty simple, it's nothing fancy, but it did just, as I say, get my point across, which I think is the most important part to it, and it just gives a kind of general feel to my style of design and things like that. And then the final page just has my name and my email on it, so that it just reminds them who I am. So overall it came out as 11 pages as like a PDF document, and this is, as I said, the kind of format that I've used for all of the unis that I've applied to, and they all seem to like it because they've given me offers. So I hope this was kind of helpful to you guys. I think my main bit of advice would just be to keep it personal to you. They really just want to see like your personality, your interests, things like that. So if you have like a massive interest in cars, you could maybe do designs of cars and renovation. Like, I don't know, just make it personal to you. So like, oh, yeah, before I forget, with Lincoln I did also send 3 links to videos, because as you guys know from me doing this right now, part of my life is that I do make YouTube videos. So I did attach 3 videos to my portfolio, 2 which were travel videos and 1 which was just like an art video. And in my feedback they did say they really liked that because it showed like how I see the world, and it did, I can't remember what they said, but I'll try and cut it and paste it here if it's useful to you guys. So as I say, like, keep it personal to you. If like me you make videos, don't keep that out, because it's something I mentioned in my personal statement as well, because they just want to see you as an individual. So anyway, I hope that this was kind of helpful to you guys. I really wish that there was a video like this for when I was doing mine, so that's why I've chose to show mine to you guys. If it is helpful, please do give the video a thumbs up because it really helps me out. You can also subscribe if you're new, because I aim to make new videos every Saturday, and I will see you guys very soon with another video.